When you start. Great. All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for one of the kickoff meetings here for the statewide ADA transition project, transition plan project. You know, this is a really exciting opportunity for us here in the Naugatuck Valley to be the pilot region for this project. One of the things that makes the Naugatuck Valley so great is the people who live and work here and contribute to making this region special. And one of the best things that we can do as a region is make everything that we have available to everyone. And so that's what this project is focused on, and that's what's really exciting about this work. We appreciate you all being here. Just a quick note, if you haven't done so yet, there is a sign-in sheet in the back of the room, so please make sure you add your name. And if you are looking for restrooms, the ladies' room is straight down the main hallway on the left, and men's room is take the first left and then turn right, and it's off on your right. And so with that, I'll turn it over to the project team from DOT and the consultants to get started. And again, thank you for the time today.
Well, thank you very much, Rich, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Quincy Brown. I'm a vice president with Data Group, and we are working on this project. I'm the project manager for this project, working closely with the Connecticut DOT and the NVCOG. So thanks for being here this afternoon. Some useful information in terms of contacts for this project. There's a number of emails for Beta Group. You have the email address as well as the NVCOG. Joanna Rogalski is the primary point of contact for the NVCOG. And then you have Connecticut DOT as well with their email address. Both Connecticut DOT and the NVCOG have project websites. And so as we go along with this project, we'll be providing information that can be posted on the website. We also have the QR codes as well and the various links to the two websites. So for the meeting today, we are going to obviously talk about the purpose of why we're doing this. We'll get a chance to introduce the project team. They are not just the three of us sitting in front of you today. There's a whole team of people working closely with us to make this happen. We also want to talk about the ADA Title II requirements and the background of that program. We'll talk about the project approach, the methodology, and how we are going through the process. We'll get a chance to glean, get a preview of the municipal survey that we have prepared for this project, and then talk about project schedule. So the purpose of the meeting, one, we want to introduce this project to NVCOG municipalities, right? And then also, like I said, talk about the ADA Title II background, and particularly what it means for municipalities. For this pilot program, obviously, NVCOG municipalities. We want to be able to confirm the points of contact for each municipality and then begin coordination for the project. We'll review the project schedule as I indicated. And then the survey I also talked about, and then action items going forward in terms of one-on-one meetings with the various municipalities in the region. Project team. Like I said, we're working closely with Connecticut DOT and NVCOG, and so I'll have Katie Hedberg come and introduce the Connecticut DOT staff. Katie.
Thank you. Some of you look familiar. I'm Katie Hedberg. I'm the ADA coordinating engineer with Connecticut DOT. Last year, our team moved into the Division of Traffic Engineering. So for this project, we do have the division chief, a principal engineer, supervising engineer who is the project manager. I'm serving in the deputy project manager role. And then Jesse, who's here with us today, is the GIS lead. And then we have a number of people joined online who are our engineering staff.
Thank you. So I'm Rich Donovan. I am the Deputy Director for the Naugatuck+Valley COG. I am joined on this project by Richard Crowther Jr., who runs our mapping data and technology team. And he is joined today in the room by his entire team. We're also working closely with Joanna Rogalski, who's one of our senior transportation planners and is serving as the primary point of contact for municipalities on this project on our side. And then also in the room with us today, we have members of our integrated mobility and community planning team and our communications and public engagement team.
And for Beta, I've already introduced myself. I'm Vice President and Project Manager for this project. We also have a few of the team here with me this afternoon. I have Najib Habish, who is sitting way in the back smiling. He's a principal in charge, just to make sure that we don't get in trouble on this project and stay on course. There are a few others who couldn't make it here today, but involved in the project. Ryan Grew is our Deputy Project Manager. He's taking some time off, well-deserved. And then Tony Garrow is our QA/QC lead. He's the Director of GIS and Asset Management for the company. And then Jay Metzger is a Senior Project Manager with the company and serving as the GIS lead for this project. And then we have Andrew Schroeder here also sitting in the front, copiously taking notes. He is going to be the one leading all the data collection efforts for this project. We also have some sub-consultants working with us, PadView, SLR, and VN engineers who will be helping us with the data collection efforts. So with that, I'll hand over to Katie again to talk a little bit more about the ADA Title II requirements over to Katie.
Thank you. So for the ADA Title II requirements, this is specifically looking at the state and local government requirements. For ADA, it was signed in 1990. There are 5 different titles that might have overlap with you for employment, businesses, telecommunications, and other important requirements. But for our specific project, we're looking at the Title II. Also for disability rights, the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was looking primarily at requirements for funding with federal dollars. The ADA expands upon that. So for discrimination against people with disabilities, it doesn't matter what the funding source is. For the ADA, the requirements and oversight were assigned by the U.S. Department of Justice to the U.S. Department of Transportation, and through trickle down with Federal Highway taking the public right-of-way items. They have the CT Division Office, which is monitoring for Connecticut with the state items along with the municipality items. We are working with the NPOs and COG, so as they have reports that are due to Federal Highway, those are where the ADA compliance gets reported. For one of the requirements, this is the ADA transition plan. Connecticut DOT has one and has had one for several years since 1990. We update ours as projects go through, funding sources become available or expand. For our transition plan, this is identifying the barriers that exist within our right-of-way and the actions that are going to replace to make things accessible. A part of our transition plan, specifically with the sidewalk section and other areas, it's identifying that when areas and assets are municipal or other entities owned, that those items are being tracked through their transition plans by the ADA Title II requirement. So in our 2018 transition plan update, there was a survey that was sent out to all municipalities. We received 60 responses out of the 169 towns and cities that gave us an idea of where they were at with compliance. When our group did the 2022 update, we did the survey again, but specifically we're looking to get 100% response to see where everyone is at. So we did hear back from every single town and city. And part of the survey had included what areas of support are needed, which was identified with staff to do an ADA transition plan or funding. So From the results of the survey, we did find almost 50% of towns or cities had done a self-evaluation, but had not done a transition plan. And then for the ADA coordinator role, which is a requirement, there were a number of entities that had said yes, but there was a good amount that had said no for the ADA coordinators. It is a shared responsibility, so it doesn't necessarily mean that one person, that's their whole entire job. There were 7 entities that had a standalone role, but a lot of entities had the building official, a human resources, a first selectman or woman, mayor, public works, an administrative assistant, human services, or town manager, attorney that might have also been the designated ADA coordinator. Now getting into the transition plan question. This is a requirement for entities with 50 or more employees. The 50 or more employees is not restrictive to just who might be working in the town or city hall. It includes your police, your fire, your schools. We did work with Department of Labor to see what numbers were being submitted to look at for the areas where municipalities had checked off, no, they don't have a transition plan. If they were at that threshold, there's only 2 towns in the whole state that fall into a category of less than 50, and that's Union and Canaan. So for the transition plan, this project is going to really help with making sure everyone's compliant, no matter if your numbers shift. So this is the data that was given to us in 2023, and it notes if you had a regional school in your system, that regional school numbers for staff were split up by how many towns are participating with that. For the other Title II requirements, these include an overall ensuring accessibility of services, providing a public notice of the ADA rights and responsibilities, a grievance procedure or a way for someone to file a complaint, the ADA coordinator, the self-evaluation, document retention, and the ADA transition plan. Now, a part of this project is going to be looking at the updates to the ADA requirements. So the 2010 standards for the ADA accessibility guidelines was the primary source for a number of years for what elements of sidewalks, bus stops needed to be compliant. But over the years, it was identified that that guideline was short of what actual requirements are needed. So the public right-of-way accessibility guidelines, also known as PROAG, was put in and drafted, and now it's finalized and posted to the Federal Register. So if your municipality had done a self-evaluation, there's a chance it could have been using the 2010 standards instead of the PROAG. So this project is going to be using the PROAG guidance and standards. For the project timeline, just to give an idea of how this has evolved, in 2022, 2023, that was when our update plan was done. For the survey in 2024, we did presentations to the COGs, reviewing what our findings were and proposing this project to coordinate with every town across the state. And then we put out for consultant. And then in 2025, we did our interviews and selection process, and then worked with NVCOG and Beta to develop the scope and what data has already been available. And fast forward to now, we have kicked off the project in April, and now are doing the regional kickoffs. And then to give an update for what was included in the RFP, initially we had it looked at sidewalks, curb ramps, bus stops and shelters, traffic signal, pedestrian buttons, crosswalks, and parking. For what was not included, anything outside of the public right-of-way, that includes park and rec facilities, municipal buildings, schools, parking garages, or other facilities. We did in 2025 make updates to the scope, which include for NVCOG for sidewalks. 100% of the sidewalks are going to be mapped in digital inventory, but as we go through with the one-on-one meetings with the town, Beta is going to propose which segments of sidewalks are going to be included in the field inspections. For a minimum of 10 miles of sidewalk, everyone's getting inventoried, but anything above the 10 miles, there's going to be a prioritization tool that gets applied. And then we are going to be looking for feedback from the towns. If you feel that there should be a segment that shouldn't be field collected because there's an upcoming project, or if there's a new school or town building that's going in another area, that would potentially change the prioritization tool. Things that aren't going to be included in our field data collection, but will be included as a procedural for the plan are the crosswalks and on-street parking. So for these items, we recognize that for on-street parking, especially if it's on a state road, the resurfacing projects go in, the on-street parking might not necessarily be put back or will be reviewed to meet compliance. So instead of inventorying everything there, the procedure will be listed out. And then for crosswalks, because so much of it is tied to the existing roadway, as roadway projects come up, then they'll be reviewed. For the DOT's responsibility, this is going to be providing the funding source. So it's an 80% federal, 20% state, coordinating with the consultant, managing the data collection tool and storage. So this is a really exciting part of the project that we are going to, at the end, have a consistent data field for the pedestrian facilities. I mean, the ultimate goal is for somebody with a disability to be able to map where they need to go and find the most accessible route to get there. So this is definitely a revolutionary. It'll include the state and local roads. So that's exciting. We're going to coordinate for the project management. We're helping with the regional kickoff, which is this today, watching the project schedule and progression. And then we'll help with reviewing the final drafts with the municipality. So it won't just be on you for extra work. We'll also be there to help along the way. For the MPO and COG, their role is to help with participation and cooperation. So these plans are going to be your responsibility for the ADA Title II, and the COGs are there to help. But we do need timely responses, questions, for when you have projects and data coming up. That's the important stuff that we need full help with. We're also going to be, the NVCOG is going to help with host locations for this meeting here today and also for any other future meetings. They'll be reviewing the municipality draft plans. And also, once you guys get the plans, it's intended to be a living document, so they'll facilitate updates. They're also going to help with the data collection. So for it being digital with Esri and GIS on the computer, they're going to be helping. So as you have updates, they'll be the ones updating it. They'll also coordinate different EDA projects within the region, and they're the host for the overall website. And then here's the municipality and meeting with consultants. Jesse.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessie Mercier and I'm the GIS lead on this project. I'm going to talk a little bit about just this slide. So municipalities, responsibility would be to establish an ADA coordinator role if not assigned by municipal contact and municipal contract for the project, which is important in organizing the GIS information and the capital improvement projects that Katie was discussing. Provide existing self-evaluation information, GIS data, spreadsheets and such, just discussed. Provide public notice and grievance procedures in accordance with the ADA Title II. Review ADA transition plan draft from consultant. Provide period for public review of ADA transition plan and optional in-person meeting. And agree to update the ADA transition plan once completed in accordance with the ADA Title II. and meeting with consultants, the regional introductory meeting, municipal progress meetings, discovery meeting, municipal draft plan and presentation, the public draft plan and presentation, and training meeting and project closeout. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my personal experience with the ADA transition, the 504 ADA transition plan. I worked for a municipality previously who was under DOJ obligation to have a 504 transition plan and a schedule of improvements. So, before this project is meant to protect municipalities, and why I say that is because, so when the municipality I worked with came under obligation with DOJ to have the 504 transition plan and the schedule of improvements, what it does is it protects you. So the schedule improvements, it doesn't mean that you have to do these reconstructions tomorrow. It lets you plan out these improvements over a 20-year period of time, a 30-year period of time, based on your budget. And what this project is doing, it's going to give you a deliverable of a 504 transition plan and a rough draft schedule of improvements based on your budget.
Thank you, Jess. So again, just to reiterate, we're going to work closely with each municipality. The goal here is not for this program to be cumbersome. It's really supposed to help you come up with a near-term, mid-term, and long-term strategy for ADA compliance. And each municipality gets to decide what timeline works for them. And I'll talk a little bit about that further in the presentation. So in terms of the approach, how we're going about this project, there's the project setup. When the project setup, the goal really is to get a stakeholder engagement plan, because that's critical. Making sure we are constantly engaging with stakeholders is a key component of the project. And also to have a work plan, which we've also developed. In addition to the project setup, we'll be having regional meetings. This is the second to last of two meetings that we are supposed to have, but also to set up a GIS dashboard. We are going through that process right now, setting up a GIS dashboard, as well as pedestrian maps for each municipality. So that process is ongoing. And then we transition into the desktop inventory, where we are developing a GIS database of the features or facilities that we are going to be collecting data on. So again, that process is ongoing. And then once we have that, we then go into the field data collection. And as Katie alluded to, we'll be collecting data on sidewalks, curb ramps, pedestrian signals, transit stops, as well as transit shelters. That information, once we get that, we'll be able to then transition into a self-evaluation phase, where we are able to identify compliant versus non-compliant features. That is critical in terms of then working with each municipality to develop a transition 504 transition plan that works for that particular municipality. And then finally, we'll have some videos, two types. One for public education, okay? And that's why we have these nice gentlemen in the background taking videos. And then we also have one specific to municipal training. Those videos will be hosted on the DOT website, and that will be a great tool for municipalities and the general public going forward. So in terms of the desktop inventory, this is just a sort of a snapshot of one that we are currently working on. This, you can see the dots being the curb ramps, and then the lines being the sidewalks. So that's a sort of a typical thing that you see when it comes to desktop inventory. And we are going to be doing this for all 19 municipalities within the region. Another thing that we're doing is we are developing pedestrian heat maps. This is a critical component of this the approach that we are undertaking, because the ped heat maps will be able to identify the high pedestrian activity areas within the municipality. What we'll then do is we'll have a sidewalk layer of each town. We'll overlay that on the pedestrian heat map, and then we'll be able to identify which areas we really need to prioritize when it comes to data collection, and also set the framework for any prioritization of improvements and projects going forward. In addition, I talked about the GIS dashboard. This is a great tool for municipalities. Each municipality will have access to their own dashboard through the NVCOG. And what each municipality will be able to do is to be able to track the progress of our work through this program. So particularly when it comes to data collection efforts. So you'll be able to see how many sidewalks we've collected data on, or curb ramps, or pedestrian signals. Additionally, because it's all GIS based, we'll be able to then flag or have some symbology to denote what's compliant and what's not compliant. And then you can go in there and see, well, we have X amount of ramps that are not compliant versus the ones that are compliant. And then with that framework, we can then go into the evaluation plans. Okay, so the evaluation plans will have a lot of information. One, it will talk about the compliant and non-compliant facilities, but also identify what the purpose and need. Okay, we'll talk about the methodology, how we got to what the information on the self-evaluation plans. There'll be information in terms of mitigation strategies, as well as schedule for improvements, costs, and so on. And that information, again, will be something that will work closely with the municipalities on. I talked about the videos, the public education videos, as well as the municipal training videos. Again, we'll work closely with the municipalities to make sure that we're on the same page and everybody has the tools they need to be able to, implement the improvements and mitigation strategies that will be coming out of the transition plans.
Sure.
Yes. So in terms of the public outreach, once we have developed the draft plans, we will make that available to the public. There'll be a 30-day review period where they'll provide feedback, and then we'll be able to incorporate any comments before we finalize the transition plans. We've also developed a municipal survey, which the goal here is to really get an ADA profile of each municipality, where you are. Every municipality is different. There are some that are way ahead and some that are just beginning. But that information is very critical for us to be able to then figure out how when we have, prior to having the one-on-one, or even after, how we deal with each municipality. But do you want to just pull up the link, please? So yeah, so it's all online. It just goes and asks information in terms of ADA governance. So the location of the municipality, who the point of contact would be. Katie talked a little bit about, it's important to have an ADA coordinator. So wherever the municipality sites, I think that's important. And then we'll get information in terms of the history of ADA compliance within the municipality, whether the staff have gotten any training, and if you have a grievance process protocol. All that information we'll be able to gather and then really get a good profile of each municipality going forward. Is it possible? Thank you. So in terms of the project schedule, so the project setup has been ongoing. We started in May, and it's a process. We're dealing with 19 municipalities here. So it's going to carry through April of 2027. The desktop and field data collection, that has also started, and that's also going to run through April 2027. The ADA self-evaluation and transition plans, we anticipate to start somewhere in August, likely end of August. And then that's going to run through January of 2028. And similarly, the municipal education and public outreach that runs through August of 2026 through February of 2028. We have, as part of this project, we'll be attending a number of special events. We had the privilege yesterday, so this attending the ADA anniversary event. This is from last year, the 35th anniversary, but yesterday, a few of us were able to attend the 36th anniversary event, which was at the Three Rivers Community College, and it was very eye-opening and very informative. So we're excited to be able to partner with the BTS and be able to attend such education. And we hope to be doing a lot more of that as we go through this 5-year program. With that, thank you very much. And we open to any questions that you have.
Anything else?
Any questions?
We all just get a copy of that, this presentation, can we all get a copy of that?
We can make it available, yes.
Yeah, is there some place we can all find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, we'll make sure you get a copy. Yeah, we'll get a copy too.
Thank you.
It's gotta be a few questions. You do such a good job.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Tom Doherty from NVCOG.
Sure. Go ahead, Tom.
Hi. So given that low impact development can reduce heat island effects and nuisance flooding along walkways, will that be considered in these evaluations?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, I think he was saying low impact development features can help reduce some of the heat island and other impacts to public walkways, and whether or not that will be considered as part of the project.
I don't think this project covers that. We will basically be identifying compliant, non-compliant features as it strictly relates to PROAG and ADA. So we will not be able to get into that level of discussion for this project. It's not within the scope
And
of
for
this
the
project.
existing,
Right.
for the existing infrastructure. So if there's an existing item already there, it'll be evaluated for ADA. But if it doesn't exist and isn't a part of the requirements, then it won't be included.
Okay.
But
thank
as
you.
towns are working on the transition and next steps, if you're interested in talking about those features, NVCOG staff is happy to assist.
Yes.
How are pedestrian movements planned to be estimated?
Okay. So the question is, how are pedestrian movements going to be estimated? That information is readily available. So basically, using like the heat map, the GIS resource, we'll be able to gather that information, which we'll then be able to map in GIS to be able to identify the high pedestrian areas.
Yeah, I can add on that too. It's based on a couple of different factors. We're looking at proximity to pedestrian generators and, AADT and the roadway classification. And we're also looking at population density.
So it's based primarily on existing land use.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Very good. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think staff will be available after the meeting if other questions come up, and certainly we encourage anybody who has questions beyond the end of this meeting to reach out to Joanna here with us at NVCOG or the project team up at CONDOT to get more information. We look forward to working with all of you on this as we go forward, and we're really excited to have a meaningful update to all 19 towns' plans. So again, thank you all for being here today, both in person and online. And we will be in touch shortly with next steps and more information about the desktop review and some of those initial meetings with each town. Thank you to the Waterbury Chamber for use of this fantastic space. And we encourage everybody to check out the brand new work that just happened outside on Bank Street, which is a great example of what ADA compliance can look like in an urban setting.
Thank you.
Thanks.